Welcome to the Pile of Salt podcast. My name is Hank. With me is Ben.
Yo.
Yo. We're just going to talk about some stuff. Because I have some stuff. And we're not ready to, Versailles long or whatever.
Yeah.
It's got some beef.
It's very interesting though. Very good. I'm not, as you may or may not know, I recently watched through a large chunk of the Dragon Ball content. And I'm not fucking used to watching an anime where like roughly every 10 to 20 minutes or every 30 seconds, depending on the episode, you don't just hear Kakarot. Kakarot, why? Like, I just keep expecting it.
Every time was like
every time that
dead for so long. Come on.
Every time they throw open a door, I'm expecting it. It's never there.
Just goes boo.
Oh man. But yeah, we've been doing other stuff. I've like watched a few things, but primarily I played a bunch of stuff. I basically was using the Steam refund policy as a way to do demos. Though in hindsight, I probably could have checked if some of those games actually had a demo, but nah.
Mm-hmm.
I did not. I mentioned to you a while ago that I was looking for like something to play on the Switch, possibly. I was going to like demo Dragon Quest Builders 2, but that must be Capcom, right? Dragon Quest. Is it?
I think it's Bandai Namco.
You know what? Maybe that's the thing that like it's not available to me on Steam, and like it's in the same vein that like Monster Hunter stuff isn't available to me. What was the thing?
It's Square Enix. It's Square Enix, of course.
Okay. I wonder if they just took. I didn't look into other Square Enix stuff, so I haven't noticed. But like, yeah, Capcom stuff. Maybe it's just like all of those companies, they're not available, so I can't even look at it on Steam. So I didn't try that one, but I tried a bunch of other shit. And yeah, what have you been up to?
You didn't make a poop sword though.
I did not make a poop sword. I didn't even get to look ahead to making a poop sword.
So the big thing I did was I played through all of Citizen Sleeper in one sitting.
Yeah, that tracks. It's like what I read that it takes like it would be like a full day, not necessarily 24 hours, but like
like 8 something like that.
Yeah. Okay. How was it?
I'm kind of a sucker for that kind of game, but the more I think about it, the less I like it in terms of like stuff. Also, anytime when I have to listen, I've tried to listen to people talk about it because I had no one to talk about it with. They were too effusive and it annoyed me. Because like I had a fine time with it, but let's don't fucking call an apple an orange or whatever. Like it's a narrative game that has some trappings of mechanical stuff, but the mechanical stuff kind of just is not good. Or it's too easy. It kind of just falls apart.
Yeah, I mean,
like the big thing is, to me, it's like it's supposed to evoke like, so you're as a sleeper. You're a robot whose personality is taken from a regular person who basically sold off their personality onto you. Like you're this weird double. It's been sold off and then like tried to escape, and like your ship was shot down, and you've like woken up on this like space station or whatever. And like this guy wakes you up and gives you your job, and then you slowly realize like the thing you're doing is like helping him like harvest the ship that you were in before. It's like the first big thing, and then he's like, you should get out of here. And there's like, and the thing is like your body is planned obsolescence. So you've got like a meter that's ticking down, and if it as it ticks down, like your main mechanic for doing stuff is you get dice, and every day you wake up, your dice are, a certain value, and that's like, if you want to do something, you roll that dice. But you might wake up and you have like a 2, a 3, and a 4, or whatever, up to 6. And then like for doing a number of tasks, you roll a die. But as your body's degrading, there's the bar goes down. When it crosses a threshold past one of the dice, you get one less dice.
Yeah.
So it's like setting up a pretty harsh like,
and you have to eat
resource. Yeah, you also get hungry. So you just have to spend time like charging your solar panels or going to a bar and eating food or whatever.
Yeah.
Which you just have to do to not starve. And that, takes money, and you get money for doing stuff.
And the planned obsolescence thing is like you get is it a shot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, so it's about managing your resources or whatever. The thing is, it didn't really take me that long to like fucking have that shit licked, and I didn't really have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And the like narrative doesn't hold up to that, because like you're following all these stories that are about like, escaping or something. I'm like, I'm not fucking leaving. I've got shit set up just the way I like it.
Yeah.
I've got my magic fucking plants that grow the serum that keeps me alive or whatever. Also, I didn't even need to use the serum at a certain point. I could just like use some scrap to repair myself every couple days, and it was fine. Like I could always stay at max dice. That's pretty late though. That's a like second tier upgrade or whatever.
I did not get that far.
Yeah.
This was one I didn't intend for it to be one of the demos, but it ended up that way. Bought it. I did about like 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I got the serum thing. I started eating some food. I talked to somebody, and then I forget if I guess I just went to bed, like in real life. And I was like, the first 30 minutes, like it's not really grabbing me too much. And I remember telling you that I was gonna like start it up the next day and like see if it gets me before the 2-hour mark. And I woke up and I'm like, I literally just don't feel like returning to this. Or was something with the writing? It was really off-putting. Maybe it's just like, I don't know. Something with the way that the characters were talking just irked me. Maybe it like felt a little bit like they're talking like too much to the player and not to the character that you are, I guess.
I don't think that's true.
No?
That's not how I would describe.
Okay. I don't know.
I mean,
something off.
Yeah.
I guess maybe it was weird that people kept having. It felt like there was a lot of explanation being given to things that like my characters should know. At least early on. I don't know. My problem was that I had seen a comparison in a review to Disco Elysium.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd be dealing with like that level of agency. And it's just not. It's not that thing.
It's not. I mean, I also think Disco Elysium has the same problem of not having that much agency ultimately, but
well, that's because you just didn't want to be a cop. Yeah, but no, it's definitely it's the same. It's a similar problem. It's not the same problem. Like if you don't want to be that character, then you're not going to have a great time. But I think
Disco Elysium has a lot more words.
It has a lot more words. But it also lets you, within the character that you are, you can play that character in more ways. I just wasn't. I don't
agree. Well, I guess you have more dialogue choices you can make, but I wouldn't say you have more agency over who you are. It's just like, how much you're gonna do your own role playing, figuring out who your character is.
That feels like more I guess that's the agency I'm referring to in this case. I don't
know. Whatever. Like there is more mechanical. There's just more. Disco Elysium is a bigger game.
Yeah. Oh no, totally. And I thought
more words.
I thought Citizen Sleeper was also gonna just be more.
Sure,
but
yeah, I would compare it to something like what was that game, Your Majesty or whatever. Like one of
bold
those
of you to assume I know games.
I thought you played that one.
Your Majesty? Your Majesty.
One of those game where like you're like a king and you're like making choices or whatever. As the narrative goes. So it's like you're pseudo managing a nation, but
yeah, it's not Your Majesty.
Okay.
I think. Well, no, there's one called Reigns Your Majesty. Do you play as a chick or a dude?
Dude.
Okay. It seems there's another one called Your Majesty with like the same premise. I know what you're talking.
Is that what I'm talking?
Yes, Your Grace. That's the one.
That's what I'm thinking of.
I did not play it.
Reigns is more like Reigns is simplified down to your mechanics are the mechanics of Tinder. It's swipe left, swipe right.
Fuck yeah, dude. Now we're talking. That's the gameplay.
And it's like a roguelike for mobile. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I have not played this.
Okay. I thought you said you'd had.
No.
Whatever.
I maybe wanted to.
Okay.
Actually, looking on this, the one that I remember more that I wanted to play was The Life and Suffering of Sir Bronte.
That one I don't know.
I think it's like a similar thing. Anyway, how is it?
So,
similar?
like, Yes, Your Grace had the classic way in which these can go wrong for me, which is just I lost. And like in your pseudo choice game, it's like you like obscure the choices enough that like I just die and have to start over. I'm not gonna start over. These are the illusion is like leading me around by the finger until I hit the end. Like that's the way in which I'm like I have an okay time. Yeah. So at least with Citizen Sleeper, like I complain about it being too easy, but also that's like why I could finish it.
Yeah,
without like looking up a guide or whatever. It's just it undermines the setting because like it's like a, capitalism is bad and like oppressive kind of story. But like I've made capitalism, I've bent it over and like dominated it.
Yeah, like
Like
you're
it's
just
not
doing fine.
I had so much money and like I had like fucking like I overthrew the Yakuza, like it's just like I like turned down becoming a fucking joining the tree collective.
I mean, if you're gonna end up there, it seems like that could have been the commentary to go for. Like, eventually make it so that the systems you're getting into are like
it's just that like
exploitive.
so the way the game's built is like, oh, there are all these paths you could take to try and get your way off, and like I was doing the path of going down a path and then saying nah and then doing the other ones or whatever. Like I was helping this dude and this little girl escape, and I was like supposed to go with them, and then last minute I'm like, bye.
It's pretty good.
And then like the guy who was like telling me I had to go was like, that's fucking hilarious. He wasn't even mad. I was like, okay. It was a little too, again, like too nice. Just so like, it was a fine time, but it wasn't anything it's gonna stick with me, which is why I was thinking about, it just made me think again about the Banner Saga and how fucking good that game is at like actually the world is the world is oppressive, and you're fucking just here at the end of the world, and it like follows through on that in a way that's way more satisfying and has really stuck with me.
I need to try that game again.
Yeah. I just, you just hate turn-based tactics.
Yes, but I'm hoping that Wildermyth like sort of broke that a little bit. I needed like a wedge to like open up that genre.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that did it. I mean, now when I think about turn-based tactics, I don't like get disgusted. That's a step in the right direction.
Sure.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
It's one of my preferred forms of video games. So, but really, like it's that like the way that thing does its story and does the like, over the meta game of like the Oregon Trail kind of thing.
Yeah,
like you just choose the wrong fucking option and one of your characters just dies, and then you have to do this tactics mission without like your key piece, and you're like, fuck.
I mean, no matter, I know what the true, not a Banner Saga, but I know the true ending of Persona 4 Golden, and I did get that ending. In my fucking head, the ending that I personally got, the real end of that game for me is Nanako dying. That's what I ended up with, using no guides. So, fucking, yeah, sometimes people die, man. But no, that's I like that about. I mean, I already in the limited time I played Banner Saga, I already had that fucking happen like twice. Just got absolutely wrecked.
Yeah, that game is fucking. It's not playing around. Yeah.
It's good stuff.
I've also like save scummed my way through an entire Fire Emblem game so that nobody ever fucking died on lunatic mode.
Boo!
On lunatic difficulty.
Boo! How dare you have your own brand of fun in a single player game?
Whatever.
It's affecting my enjoyment. Boo!
Also, that actually I'm also extra fine with, because it was in Awakening where that whole story is about traveling back in time to prevent people who definitely died from dying. So
Hell yeah.
it's actually like thematically appropriate there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
I mean, it could be
it's literally
worse.
about kids traveling back in time to save their parents from dying. And then the DLC is you travel to the dark future to save the kids from dying.
Jesus.
Also,
I mean, the more abhorrent thing, and again, you know, if it's a single player game, I really don't give a fuck. But like, one of my friends was playing, I think it was Elder Scrolls. I assume it was just Skyrim, Bethesda game. And he was talking about how he's just like save scumming the shit out of it. Like he would like try a lockpick or whatever. Just any single thing he would try, he would just do the quick save, and if it doesn't work, just go back. I just can't. I can't imagine doing that for the entire game. That like triples the length of the game in some cases. Just,
but I mean, if that's the game you want to play forever, but also like. You want to think about this, Ben? That's like just how early PC gamers learned to play video games. It was quick saving and reloading.
Why?
Like that was just what you did. If you were in that space, that's how people played those games. You could quick save and quick load.
Yeah. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. If you come from like, console world, you're like fucking it's garbage. You're just fucking cheesing through it, and they're like, whatever, I'm just fucking doing it. It's just what you do.
I mean, if it's like if it's
Baldur's Gate or whatever.
If it's a thing that would like take a lot of time to redo or whatever, or work around or something, like a bigger moment, I can kind of see it. But like having 200 lockpicks and then being like, ooh, a normal lock that failed, I'll just quick load. Like, what? Just redo the...
Nope. I've been there. When like playing a Game Boy game, like, oh, I lost a life. Turn it off. Turn it back on.
Jesus.
Gotta preserve my 99 lives, Ben.
Oh my god, just get another one later.
No, I need the number to be good.
Also, the fact
that's the important part.
The fact that it's Skyrim and you can so easily cheese without needing to ever reload ever again, just through the alchemy enchanting loop. You can have like you can have negative integers in every skill. You can have like billions of points in everything.
That's not how he wanted to play. Let him live.
No, I refuse. Barging in on his single player experience to tell him how to have a good time.
You're fucking FromSoft taking away Horfrost Stomp from me. I see how it is. You're the enemy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, the thing with Banner Saga is just like it's a story told over 3 games, and they fucking nailed it.
Hell yeah, dude!
Wow.
No, the story stuff.
You actually
was so...
fucking paid you paid off all these fucking.
The story shit was so good. The world is so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, the setup of like the sun has just fucking stopped moving.
Yeah.
And there's a fucking darkness, and there's these fucking stone people that are walking in front of it. We gotta fucking leave.
Probably how I'm gonna end up redoing that game at some point. I'm probably just gonna have to like stream the first chunk of the first game and like have somebody there, because my problem now, it's been too long. I want to restart it, but I remember just enough, like I don't want to have to go through the intro again. I don't want to have to like build up to this, like get introduced to all the systems and shit again. I remembered that part of things, but the story I don't fully, or I should say the characters I don't fully remember.
Fair enough.
It was good. It was a very good, well, not good, well done atmosphere. I like it. Felt futile, and I love that that vibe.
Yeah. And it's kind of a weird, like the tactics of it is it's not like a lot of games in that genre, because usually there's so often you're trained to like you just fucking focus fire to just kill things. But in that game, it's actually you kind of just want to make your enemies fucking bleed. The way that like the turn order works, you kind of want all their enemies to be crippled and just keep them around. So it just has a different flow to it than a lot of other games. Also, you can get punished like incredibly hard.
Yeah, you can get fucking punished hard.
You just gotta, be careful.
I did demo another tactics game.
Sure.
Disgaea 5.
Oh.
Heard.
I've never found. Every time I start with it, it's like, I can't.
That was basically it, dude. I mean, I've heard that it's very good. Like, you just keep playing it. You just keep powering up. You watch the number get bigger. I like watching numbers get bigger.
Yeah, there are versions of that game where you like go into a dungeon in your weapons to level them up.
Yeah.
You can like do like 100 levels in your sword or whatever.
Yeah, in some cases it's like literally everything maxes at like 9,999, and I'm like, I'm into it. I don't even know.
Grind.
I don't even know. Sometimes I feel grindy, man. I put like 15 minutes into that game. I bailed. I'm like, this isn't it, Chief. So that was a bust. Yeah. The other thing,
someone who likes tactics games, that's how I feel about them, and I'm like, one of these I should like. I feel like I should play like Disgaea 1 or something.
Yeah. I checked out Grow, Song of the Evertree. Not a tactics game. It's like
is there a tree?
There in fact was a big fucking tree, yeah. It was like it's like a farm life sim, like you're doing farming stuff, but you're also like building up the town and like doing little quests for the citizens and like building relationships with them. And I'm like, I'm about it. And this seems more whimsical fantasy nature stuff than some of the other games in the genre. So I checked it out. Again, like 15, maybe 20 minutes, not even. Just didn't feel good. Moving around felt bad. And that's not a genre where movement can be a problem for me. If I'm going to be walking back and forth between crops, I don't want to be miserable whenever I do it.
Yeah.
And that was enough. Just shut it off.
I played like a few minutes of a game where the movement feels bad. That's not in this doc. In that I played a couple minutes of Shadow Tower Abyss, a FromSoft game, PS2, which is like, it's like a Kingsfield, but you have a gun.
Hell yeah.
You just move incredibly slowly.
Yeah.
You're very slow.
I
still want to see more of that game, but like you're so slow.
Just emulate, play at 2x speed. Ta-da. The last game that I demoed, which was actually a smashing success, Rogue Legacy 2, very good. I ended up still doing the refund, but that's just because I was like playing and I kind of want it on Switch someday. so I might wait and see if that happens. But that game felt very good.
Yeah. I don't know. The first one never grabbed me.
Yeah, it's
Just
fair.
not for me.
I would have put more time in the first one. Had like 30
Also,
hours of playtime, not been wiped.
Yeah. Also, I'm pretty fucking picky about actually being able to put time into a roguelike. So.
Actually, it's a roguelite. Common mistake.
Ugh. Fuck you.
Oh man. Top tier joke. Never old. Yeah, no, it's like a perfect sequel.
Sure.
It's just more but better. It's what you want.
I don't know if that's the perfect sequel in my mind.
I
That's
think
like-
for that game,
That's above average.
I
That's
think for
good.
that
It's a good
game, it's a
sequel.
perfect sequel.
Sure.
Because if you, what would you do if you go beyond just more and better for that kind of game? I think it's just not that kind of game anymore.
So you're saying, like, because it's a mid game, you just need another game that's mid.
I mean, yeah,
I'm just being a dick.
I had no problem. Look, I'm not Rogue Legacy 2 is not. I'm not like. It's not a fucking 10 out of 10 masterpiece must play. I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the last game I demoed, and that's Monster Girls and the Mysterious Adventure 2.
Ugh.
10 out of 10 masterpiece must play.
Okay.
Not actually 10 out of 10, but it is very cute. It's Monster Girls, but it leans more into like the cute stuff instead of being like gross. So that's neat. It's a mystery dungeon game. Which I
Another thing I don't like.
see. I've been playing them a little bit more, and that's like that game loop is very satisfying to me.
Yeah, sure.
Pokemon
It's
a little
not
less
satisfying to me, but sure. Okay, I've only really tried the Pokemon ones. I'll be honest.
I mean, the first one I played was like fucking ages ago. Like Pokemon, I suppose it was the DS one. What was that, Blue Team? Something. I don't remember like playing it, but I remember that I did beat it. And I had a good time. And then the one on Switch is pretty good. But after trying out some other mystery dungeon games where you're not like fucking worried about type matchups and like your move sets and all that stuff, going back and having to deal with that in Pokemon is real annoying for that genre of game. Just doesn't.
Wait, so you're saying the Pokemon ones are too complicated for you?
Not that they're complicated, it's just that them being, in particular in this case, it being on Switch is fucking irritating. Because if you want to use another move, you have to open your menu, go to a sub menu, click the move you want to use the move. Like, you can't, if you want to truly optimize like your attacks and stuff, just based on typing, like, you just can't without going through a bunch of bullshit.
Okay. So you'd rather play a game you don't do anything?
No, the other games you do stuff. It's just not with the typing.
But you don't have to pick your moves?
I mean, you're
Just
picking
fucking
your
spam.
You're picking your equipment, and you're picking some stuff. Like, it's more about
That's an auto battler, I see.
get the fuck out of here with your auto battle bullshit. It's not auto battle. There's a lot of skill, man. You gotta bump into enemies and shit. Nah, like,
It's Loop Hero.
get the fuck out of here. I mean, arguably like the best one is Sheeran the Wanderer, which is also on Switch. Fucking incredible mystery dungeon game. And that's like just knowing enemy types and like how to handle them, and I think there's more of an emphasis on using items. Like, you gotta use the shit you find. You can't hoard, first off, because there's an inventory limit, but the limit is there so that you're not like, oh boy, I'll use this staff at some point. Like, you gotta use the staff, man. Which I appreciate.
No, never. Couldn't be me.
The
I would rather die than use a fucking resource that I have.
Monster Girls it itches another part of my brain because you don't always have to fight. Like, you befriend, part of it is befriending the Monster Girls, and then you can bring 3 of them into the dungeon with you, and they like either will attack or there's like support ones and that sort of shit that just heal and do whatever.
So it's Pokemon.
It's more Pokemon, yeah. But with Monster Girls. But you can also just talk in a pinch. You can also just talk to enemies in the dungeon, and like if you think you might not, if you're running out of resources because you actually use them instead of just queuing over dead with full pockets, you can talk to them and try to persuade them to like not attack you. Please, God, leave me alone. That's I being able to talk your way out of shit is also, it's just another element that I find interesting. And it has like some of the town building shit as well. That's fun.
Yeah, SMT games have that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing I thought of was like Persona and shit. Or not, I guess not Persona, just SMT, right? I forget if Persona has it.
Persona 4 and 3 don't really. I think 5 has a little bit of it more. And the earlier Persona game. Like Persona 1 has it.
That makes sense.
I never played either version of 2 though.
I remember dealing with it a little bit in, was it Soul Hackers? They have that shit in there.
I never played that one. The only other SMT game I really played a bunch of was Devil Survivor, which is the tactics one.
See, tactics sounds better to me than what like Soul Hackers ended up being, which was a first-person grid-based dungeon explorer. Not my cup of tea.
Persona 1 is also like that.
Yeah, which is why I haven't
like
ever
the Persona
had the
Q
desire.
games, which are like
the Q games are
like
also
Etri.
like that.
Because they're like Etri and Odyssey games.
Etri and Odyssey 4 was one of the ones that was from the Spaghetti Cast days. Just bought it. And yeah, first person dungeon, not my.
My problem with Devil Survivor was for your endings you have to pick a path, and I picked a path that was too hard for my first playthrough, and then like I just was not strong enough to finish the video game.
Yeah, that's fucking wild.
I got stuck. It got too hard. Made a poor choice.
I've been there, man.
And that's a game like you're supposed to, you get an ending, then you start over, like New Game Plus or whatever, to then get get another ending, and then you do it again to get all the endings. But I just picked the one I picked to do first is one of the fucking harder ones. So
gotcha.
And like my main character was like strong enough to do fucking anything. Like my other party members just like die instantly.
Yeah, that'd fucking do it. Man, it
was a bummer because I really liked that game, but that was
I should probably look more into like the more recent like SMT stuff, because if like the dungeon exploration and like
it's not
Persona
that recent at this point, but yeah,
Not recent, but like, isn't 5 recent? Is that the recent-ish one?
Yeah, that's the most recent.
Yeah.
Was it 5? Yeah, 5.
Look,
That's the one that's on the
if
Switch.
it's not a first-person dungeon explorer, fine.
It's not.
Like Persona 4, great. Persona 3 was also fine. I bailed on that one for other reasons at the time, but like Persona 5, incredible. I wish I had that still because the urge is hitting me to to play it.
Persona 5 did not look. Persona the S well blah, 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 blah. SMT4 I tried to play, and that was not for me. I did not like how it like. Yeah, walking through the dungeons was like weird and bad, and none of the characters were good.
I'd buy it.
Like
Yeah.
it didn't have good characters. That was the thing. Devil Survivor, like the characters were strong, which is like the thing that makes Persona so good for me.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like I don't really want to like SMT can really go up its own ass with its lore, which the Devil Survivor games get way closer to than Persona does. Like in terms of like it's fucking dumb lore shit. But cuz that stuff is not actually that interesting to me.
Yeah.
If that's all there is. I need the good characters,
The
with good
relationships.
dialogue. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man. Someday I'll get to 5 again.
It's good. You just have to accept that the party members aren't going to be as good as the party members from 4, and
Yeah.
you have to get like 35 hours in so you really sink into that routine of doing your day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
I was like close but not quite.
Mm-hmm. No, like it took me like 35 hours of going like until I was like, okay, I'm settled in. Settled into this video game finally.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a fucking wild thing for me to say, because like I'm like ready for a video game to be over after like 25. But like I mean that was like me with Elden Ring too, right? Like I was ready for it to be over, but found the way to play 100 hours.
See, I like having the option to sink in. To just get to that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Persona 5 takes way too long to let you do that because your days are so prescriptive early on.
Now, Monster Hunter. There's a fucking game you can sink into. Went so hard on Rise.
Fair enough.
It was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm not technically done, but like I was that's when I like started Final Fantasy 14 cuz I thought I kind of wanted a bit of like an MMO experience. And
Sure.
that wasn't totally wrong, but it turns out I just wanted like the later game MMO experience. Like I just wanted to grind for equipment, man. I wanted to spend the time getting materials and then getting a thing or like drops or whatever. So Rise hit that like perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Whereas like that's the shit I hate the most in MMOs.
Well, see, in an MMO,
I like Monster Hunter a lot, but I do not find it like relaxing. I find it kind of
some of that shit is still stressful.
Yeah. But I don't find like grinding out materials for the thing. That gameplay loop, I guess, doesn't doesn't hit me in that way, or for the thing of
Yeah.
like it being the shit that I need to do or whatever.
See,
I need
it's
a like a loose story narrative, like the loosest. Like I need an Elden Ring. Was like I was there to see the things.
yeah, yeah.
Like Monster Hunter, I'm presumably I'm really there to fight all the monsters, but I have to fight. You have to fight them so many times.
Yeah. See, it's
Like
not a
it's
full.
fun for me doing it with people
Oh,
for sure.
oh yeah.
But doing it on my own, I have to be in the right mood. It is not an all the time. I could
That's
just do this all the time kind of thing.
that's like the one down. Like some of this shit I can do. I know that I have the ability to like hunt this monster successfully. I don't really
Mm-hmm.
want to do it solo. I don't want to put in
Mm-hmm.
that amount of effort, but there's not
Mm.
enough people to like cover all the bases, so I can't
Mm-hmm.
always join randos to do it. But just
Yeah.
joining random quests to like hunt anything, that's been fun to do
Mm.
now and then.
Sure. Yeah.
It didn't scratch the exact itch. In an MMO, I don't necessarily like grinding the armor. It's all about those mounts. I like going for the mounts and like focusing on that shit.
Yeah. My at max level, I kind of the only thing that's really hooked me for a long term is focusing on gearing up for PvP. If I don't have that end goal with it, then I don't. I lose interest.
Mm.
I completely lose focus.
I mean,
Like I've done. I've been in like a guild that was raiding every week, but really I cared about still like getting good armor so I could do PvP.
yeah, yeah.
Like I don't in it. It's not even sometimes in. It just has to be like a loose association sometimes for that stuff. Like Pokemon would hit me like the idea that I could use my team against another person mattered, even if I was never gonna fucking do that.
I've never felt something so fucking hard in my life, dude. I was the same exact way with Pokemon. I was like, I need everything to be optimized as shit. It will never ever matter, but I
Yeah.
need it.
But this is the
Same
way my
thing.
brain will line up with this video game that I'll have a thing I'm working towards.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas if it's just gear up, make the numbers go up for the sake of the numbers going up, it doesn't actually hook me on those grounds.
Well,
Like I lose it.
see,
I
I've
I
got
need a narrative, some kind of narrative progression or something. Like I just need one little extra thing.
yeah, yeah.
And pushing the limits of what that little extra thing can be. I spent like the whole day the other day playing Game Dev Story, which is like the most barest bones of progression.
Amazing.
But that worked. Worked for me for yesterday. Just on my phone, played Game Dev Story. Just watching the. Gotta fucking make the next game, dude. Gotta make
Is that
Book Kick 12 or whatever.
Game Dev Store? Okay, I was thinking of Game Dev Tycoon. I know this one as well, though, or I'm familiar with it. It's on Steam.
Yeah, I played it on Apple Arcade.
What's the? Is that the? So that's like the drive. They're just you got to get the next game out.
Yeah, you're just making your next game. You get you hire your people. They have like stats. You can level them up. You might have to buy a license for new consoles. Like time passes and like the history of video games happens.
Okay.
Like the PlayStation will come out or whatever at some point. And then you can like your dudes have stat categories of like so that determines like what your how good your game ends up being, but also like they're like you do your concept, you can spend extra money and like hire an outside person to design your concept or provide your music or do your graphics or whatever.
Yeah. Outsourcing.
And then you can reclass your people so that you can then eventually turn them into hardware developers and make your own console.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
It's
It's pretty basic though.
Yeah,
It's
but
like it's literally, and like at like the end of the year there like game wars will happen or whatever. You're trying to get, you want to get the game of the year. Want to get game of the year.
Yeah, dude, that's what they all do it for.
I got fucking runner up game of the year so many fucking times. Fucking give me game of the year, goddammit. I got honestly the thing I got the most number of times was best music. I was paying the big bucks for the music. Gotta have good music, dude. What are we doing? I was operating based on like what genres were popular, and for some reason it was like bookstore, fitness, architecture.
Damn, man. Everybody wants their fucking bookstore.
My
fitness.
action RPG bookstore game is my longest running series.
Look, that just sounds like you're
because you get to, when you make your game, you get to pick like your genre and your your theme.
Dude, bookstore action RPG just sounds like you're capturing most of the Stardew Valley fan base. Wild.
My bookstore card game did pretty well on handhelds.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
Less good on consoles.
You probably fucked up the UI.
Probably. Book Online was pretty popular.
Book Online.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Online RPG. I think it was an online
Book
sim
Online.
bookstore game.
Jesus.
Because I unlocked online sim as a thing I could do before I unlocked online RPG. Or whatever.
That's great.
So that was like, playing that, I was like, oh man, my brain is just sick in this particular way. I just need some little like the littlest fucking bit of story or progression or something. But you just give it to me raw, it's like not good enough. It's not gonna work. I need to be tricked in this particular way, and I will just sit there and play this thing incessantly until it's done.
Yeah.
It won't, leave me feeling satisfied afterwards, but so it goes.
Yeah. You know what something is that left me satisfied afterwards? In like a terrible way.
What?
Kaze to Ki no Uta. Want to talk? I've mentioned it, but I want to talk a little bit more.
Sure.
I like simultaneously highly recommend it and also suggest that nobody ever read it. Like it's I know there's my classic bit about Berserk being tasteful. This is like
you could let that comment die. You don't have to keep bringing it up. It lives at this point because you bring it up.
I don't care. It's funny. Probably the biggest disconnect between what my brain thought and what my mouth said, like of all time. This is like not tasteful because that's a terrible word that shouldn't be used to describe fucking anything, honestly. But it's like beautiful in a horrifying way. Like the writing is incredibly good, I think. There's just a lot to it that's so well done, and it's just such a good read, like as you're reading it, if that makes sense. But like, fuck, it's so rough. Just the fucking worst. Like that was
Yeah, I'm not gonna read it.
yeah, no, this makes sense. Just a very difficult thing. Like I guess it's up there. At times it kind of, I got the same sort of vibe as like when I read Lolita, right? Where it's like, holy shit, this prose is like amazing. Like this writing is incredible. This is fucked up. Like this is just ridiculously fucked up. In that vein. And like what sets it, because it, this was listed as one of the things that inspired Berserk, and thankfully not as what's the word I'm looking for? They don't like linger on shit in the same way that Berserk does sometimes. At least visually, I suppose, is how I'll phrase it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's less in your face, I guess, is maybe a better way to describe it. But it's just really good. But I'll never, ever have anyone to talk about that with. Oh, just want to get that off my chest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about the two boys at boarding school, and just everything goes like fucking wrong for one of them. Yeah. I also read some interesting stuff about like, because that's like one of the first, I forget the terms, like boy love romance manga. It was the pioneer for that or whatever. I read some really interesting things by someone who's like actually knowledgeable in this shit and researches and speaks about it for a living and teaches or whatever, on like the role of those manga and like why women like them, why girls like them, and like how just stuff about like it's important that it's like two boys, and just how like the sexual violence is used and how it's interpreted and like what it allows the reader to do, again assuming that the reader is like a woman who's kind of meant to project herself into this a little bit. It was very interesting, but I'm not qualified to talk about that shit. But there is a lot of good material that was written about this that I found super interesting. Yeah. That's it, I guess. Yeah. If anybody wants to like be sad for 2 days, check it out. You know what wasn't sad?
What?
Watching like 3 Mel Brooks movies.
Sure.
That was good shit.
Sounds like it could be a good to less good time, depending on the movies.
It was Blazing Saddles.
That's a good one. Yep.
I like watching it again and thinking about it. I mean, this is like the 5th, 6th time I've watched through it. I think it just is my favorite comedy film.
Sure.
Like,
It's got that farting scene.
it's got the
Good
fuck,
stuff.
dude, it kills me. Like, tears from laughter every time. It's so fucking good. Man. also the bit with Gene Wilder talking about like they're the clay of the earth, the common man, blah blah blah. Morons. Like it's so fucking good. So many good bits.
It's a funny movie.
And I watched Young Frankenstein again. Just felt the urge. That's fine. It's not my favorite Mel Brooks film, but it's solid.
That dance scene is so fucking good. the perform the dance near the end.
Oh yeah.
That's the part where that movie comes together for me.
And I finally watched all the way through The Producers. Great shit. I did not know there was a remake in like 2005. Seems not as good. But
well, that's based on those guys were in the stage performance that was really big on Broadway or whatever. So that's why that 2005 movie happened.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was
But that one has some problems of just like, failing to translate stuff that we worked on stage to a movie.
Sure. Is it more I'm actually that's unlocking something. Is it like more of a musical? I feel like I read that.
I haven't watched it.
Okay.
I only really know various things about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff.
The thing I always think about with Young Frankenstein, Joe, is the scene where the monster beats the old guy, the old man in the cabin. That scene's just like exactly in that original movie in Bride of Frankenstein, I think, or like that's just in one of those classic. And they turn it up a little bit, but it's still a fucking weird, funny scene just originally. It's like this fucking blind man and the monster.
I mean, that's part of the thing that like now I have to live with. It's something you showed me with Airplane and like Blazing Saddles and how those films like just lift so much, and especially with Airplane, how it's just like this movie was just fucking dumb.
That movie is
like it's ridiculous, and it's so hard. Like I was telling Anya, and you can't fucking convey that without seeing the movie. Like it's ridiculous.
Like all the melodrama here is like exactly lifted from this other movie that's fucking dude. You just can't help but laugh at it.
Yeah. Oh, it's fucking ridiculous.
Like they had to cut out ridiculous stuff because it was too funny originally to make fun of. The guy's fucking puppet.
God.
Like, it's just too... You can't even make fun of it.
I should do that again. Might be a good one to revisit. Yeah. And, like, on paper, like, when I briefly was trying to explain, it just, like, it doesn't... I'm like, no, Anya, you don't understand. Like, it's super funny because there was this other film that's, like, the same, but not. But it was serious. But it was funny. She's like, okay. Well, just watch this film. You'll understand.
Speaking of watching things.
Yeah, run with it.
I finally gave in and watched. Honestly, I was just checking what was on Twitch, and I ended up I saw Grubby was streaming day one of CCL. I just happened to catch it. Of the Heroes of the Storm, like, Pro League thing.
Yeah, like the
tournament thing that they're in like season 4 of now.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good time. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, like it's still. I mean, that was like earlier on. I remember mentioning it at some point because I watched it for a while there, and it was still like, I mean, they don't got that fat Blizzard esport money, but like it was still a very solid like commentary and everything. It was pretty enjoyable just to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But then you took it too far, didn't you?
Then I did also then play Here's the Storm. Although the thing I will say about CCL that I actually liked was the first match I was watching was one of the teams was just made up of HotS players that had played in the HotS League when it was like good and had kind of quit HotS since then and now had like formed a team, but they were all like super rusty because they haven't been up on the current meta.
Yeah.
And then I watched them lose.
Funny.
So that was interesting.
It's pretty good.
Them like picking like the down to their final match, they picked their comfort picks and they got fucking destroyed by meta heroes.
God, I mean, it's did you learn where Nazebo is at?
No one played Nazebo.
That didn't answer the question. Like, he's clearly a sleeper meta pick, dude.
The one time he was mentioned was like Groby saying, you know, like in lower ranks or in Storm League or whatever, like people pick Nazebo as like an offlaner, even though he's fucking bad at it because he doesn't have any self heal. But people do it.
Well, he has some self heal. Or do his little beetle things only heal his mana or whatever?
I think so. I don't remember.
Who fucking knows, dude?
Or I don't know. They've reworked.
I don't even remember who I used to play if I wasn't playing Naz. I know there were others. I just can't remember who they
like
were.
Chen.
I played Chen. Oh, that's who it was. I was a Chen boy.
Yeah. I also didn't see any Chen.
Well, they changed him a bunch, didn't they?
Yeah. They took away the Fat Illidan build that we liked.
Yeah. Man, Fat Illidan. Now it's all coming back. There was Fat Illidan. There was fucking Damage Lily. How's that doing? Did that get fucking tanked?
I mean, I can still play Damage Lily. I in fact played Damage Lily. It's different. Like the talents are changed around, but
I don't fucking like this.
Possible.
I don't like where this is going. We're talking about it too much. I feel like
I played like a bunch of games.
I feel like I'm gonna be corrupted.
I didn't like
son of a bitch
fully fall into it the way I thought I might, but I did play a bunch. I did play a lot.
I mean, it might happen.
The interesting trends when watching CCL, because I've watched like 2 days of it now, was like Sylvanas kept getting picked by the team that won, and Rhaegar kept getting picked by the team that lost. Until today, then a team tried to pick both Sylvanas and Rhaegar, and they lost.
Interesting.
Rhaegar just doesn't seem like he's like doing enough, and he like because he just becomes a point where the other team like attacks. He's like he becomes a point of the like focus.
He has a big target on his back.
But it also just was kind of happenstance that the better teams would pick a different hero, and the underdog team would pick Rhaegar or whatever.
Yeah,
it kind of felt like too. Instead of like picking Karazim or something else.
I remember they changed Brightwing as well. I think I played a little newer Brightwing.
Brightwing was getting picked a lot and banned a bit.
That sounds right.
Because it's, a global.
Yeah,
The Dahaka Brightwing. It's a staple.
Disgusting.
But you're looking at HotS, I'm like, look, it's still like fucking tank bruiser meta. As opposed to fucking Overwatch, who's like fucking one tank only, bitches. Overwatch 2. Where they've taken it down to like you only have 5 characters on a team. And you only get one tank.
Gazlo.
And 2 healers.
I played Gazlo.
Yeah.
I was a little fucking orc boy.
Yeah.
Urel. I recognize these characters. Tyrande. It's good shit. These are all... Oh, I don't know this person. Wait, is this the only new... Okay, Deathwing I knew was in the game. Imperius I like... Okay. Deathwing I knew was in the game. That might have been like the last one where I actually paid... I was like still following things that talked about it.
Sure.
Hogger, I don't recognize. Imperius, I believe we played once and there was an Imperius on the other team.
Yeah.
That was like
Hogger
way
was getting
late.
picked a bunch in CCL.
What's his fucking deal?
He's like he does like the Tasmanian devil spin and like bounces around.
Yeah.
He's a bruiser.
Yeah. Did I know Anduin was in the game?
The most amazing thing was like this one match where this player who's like really impressive was just completely crushing the Hogger with Tracer. Like he was just bullying him constantly.
Hell yeah.
Because Hogger's like all his stuff has like a wind up. So Tracer could just get in and then immediately back off and not get hit at all.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like a bad matchup for that character. And the thing, like, looking at that game again, it's just like the characters have so much character to them of like their kits.
Yeah.
Compared to like,
totally.
Because I've just been hearing things about what Overwatch 2 has done to that game. Where they've
like
flattened.
Nothing?
Well, it's done nothing compared to what they did to Overwatch 1 already. But like all their balancing that they've done to that game, and Overwatch 2 is just like continuing it, is like flattening all the characters and like making them less distinct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like they've increased all the damage on all the healers, and like to the point where healing but like increase the damage that everyone puts out, so you just die immediately. You can't get healed.
I see
Despite the fact that there are 2 healers.
I see one more character that I have no idea. And clicking on their name, it turns out they're actually just the Heroes of the Storm OC. Kira? Melee Assassin. Kira.
Yeah.
Wait. Am I that out of fucking touch? No, wait, okay. I saw the portrait for Murky and I was like, why the fuck is Brightwing a melee assassin? Okay, that makes more sense. The world is correct.
And also like Overwatch made it so it's like tank, healer, assassin, like, and they made all like Symmetra's like an assassin now or whatever. Like they got rid of their supports. Whereas HotS, it's like there are just like 6 classes of characters now. Just like
Yeah.
they've separated them completely into their roles, but kept their distinctness, because you have like melee damage, ranged damage, healer.
Yeah, I'm looking. We got
support,
bruiser, healer,
bruiser.
melee, range,
Yeah.
support, tank. Pretty wild.
And I just think having like tank and bruiser exist as separate things is really fucking good.
Yes.
I like that design a lot. That's why I kind of hate the fact that they got rid of a tank slot in
I played a lot of
Overwatch.
Blaze and Joanna. Fuck. I'm gonna end up playing Heroes of the Storm, aren't I?
You're just very
That's
highly suggestible. That's
I'm incredibly suggestive. The problem was you said it to me more than 3 times, and now we're here. Like, it's literally all it fucking takes, honestly.
yeah. I just like clicking things. I needed to click. My brain one of my brain poisonings is I need to click around in a top-down space, and there aren't any other fucking MOBAs.
Yeah,
There's HotS, there's League, and there's Dota.
So, I mean, a big thing of it for me was also just that the characters are distinct and they're fucking like fun. Like they all had cool stuff going on. And like, not for all of them, but overall, I would say the skin game was on point. That's important, man.
Mm-hmm. True.
I see you have 2 other things on your list to talk about. We are running a little bit long.
So these are about how do you feel about old ass video games, Ben?
I mean, I have
Like
several of them.
like old, because I've been I was watching on the channel Errant Signal. He does like video game videos, but the thing I really have taken to is just he has a series, Children of Doom, where he's looking at first person shooters starting with like pre-Doom. I forget the first one he did, but like he's going through every video is going through year by year, looking at first person shooters and like picking one game to focus on, and then briefly talking about kind of the rest of what was out that year.
Mm-hmm.
But also like mostly like trying to focus on, shooters like Doom likes, rather than like he's mostly not talking about immersive sim style games. So like he kind of holds off on talking too much about System Shock, for example.
Okay.
But the video that I found the most interesting, because I just didn't really fucking know anything about the game before, was his video on Marathon.
That's
which is by Bungie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Bungie, and it was for Macs only. And it's just like, it was super interesting, because that game kind of splits the difference between Doom and the immersive sim stuff, in that like it has a coherent narrative that's there in like, if you look at these text like messages that these 2 AIs are giving you of like your instructions for what you're supposed to be doing, but it still just mainly plays like, and it plays like a Doom game, but also there's like a little bit more to it, in terms of like one mission you'll be low on oxygen or whatever, and one mission you'll just be fucking wandering around because one of the guys just sent you somewhere without really fucking telling you what he wanted you to do.
Yeah.
And there's like a coherent narrative there, and it's like so much fucking lore that is like the same as the Halo lore in terms of like this evil
Yeah.
force that has all these aliens that are enslaved to this greater force that are all like different species. That classic go-to.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's about
Tried and
AIs
true.
going rampant.
Wow. Crazy. Yeah, no,
But it was also interesting that like beat by beat that game was like what Half-Life copied.
Oh, wild.
Like there's way more Half-Life in that game than I knew about. Like in like superficial ways, in a lot of ways too, like the way you heal, where you like go up to a healing station and like just get talk like you talk to it and get healed or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Charge up. That's in both games. It's just interesting.
Oh, that shit's cool,
like
man.
it was like it was a more way more coherent narrative than I would expect from a game that old.
I mean, yeah.
That wasn't like that was also like an action game. That was
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, I played the
And they made,
original
like 3 of
Doom
those or
recently.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
Doom's fun.
Dude, it holds up. Like, it was a fun time.
Yeah.
I didn't beat the game or anything, but like I did
Mm-hmm.
a decent chunk, and it was very fun.
But Doom levels are just like
Yeah.
they're like an abstraction. Like they're fucking not. They're not thinking about like the space that you're in as like a real space.
Yeah, no, no,
like
no,
makes
no.
any sense.
They're just
That's kind of, but it's like it's just like a mechanical fun and about like vibes.
yeah,
And like seeing something that was a little more coherent and thinking about like the space station you were actually on or whatever. Telling the story that was just interesting.
yeah.
And the one the first one of them that I watched was the most recent, which is he got up to GoldenEye.
Okay.
That was just fun because GoldenEye is an interesting video game that exists, and it's
Yeah,
kind of not like fucking anything else because it existed in a weird window for a weird controller.
Yeah.
Before we figured out dual analog sticks.
Yeah, man.
Like the way that like the speed at which shooting enemies in that game works is because like they get stunned so heavily because it takes so long to aim if there's like a lot of enemies, so that it's like about managing the stun animations on a bunch of different dudes if there are a bunch of different dudes. And also that game started as like a virtual cop like light gun game that then became a game where you walk around.
I mean, I played a shitload of that game when I was little.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I mean, so did I when it came out, because I was a child who did not have access to good computers or whatever. It was much more accessible for people to have an N64 with controllers.
Yeah,
And for kids to have an N64 with controllers. Also, the fact that the multiplayer in that game was like, they made it when they were like 2 months before that game came out.
Dude,
It didn't have multiplayer.
That's mostly what I played. Like,
Yeah,
I played that shit in fucking daycare. That's where I played it
Damn.
mostly.
It's so funny to think that like they just slapped that on.
Just a
last minute.
little ad.
Also, apparently the auto aim was a thing that like Nintendo was pushing heavily, because they were like the Nintendo in Japan was really against the stop to aim thing, where you press the button to go into like the light gun mode. Basically,
Yeah.
they were like, "That's bad." You're not wrong. I think when I was a kid, I basically just never did that, except when you kind of have to. Just relied on the auto aim.
Yeah.
Also, apparently in Japan, the difficulties, the auto aim is always at the best level in the Japanese version, whereas the auto aim gets worse as you go up higher difficulties in the other regions. Because that game also did difficulty in a way that I wish games did more often, where it just like gave you more objectives that were like narrative based. You had to do more spy shit on the harder difficulties, and they're like they would like make you go to different areas of the level that you wouldn't necessarily that you could just skip on lower difficulties.
That's actually something crazy. Like I don't. Yeah, like that's never a thing now for difficulty.
No. Nope.
That's dope.
That's like one of the coolest things about like looking back at that game is the way they handled the difficulty modes.
Yeah.
But also, that game would get ridiculous with the number of people you were supposed to shoot. And the frame rate could not handle it. And just like I think that kind of shooting is the problem was with the reticle aiming, like you would have to like hold the joystick like, you know, at a specific point, which is incredibly finicky on like an N64 joystick to hold it like somewhere just in vague space to aim at like a specific thing that's really just a fucking blob. Cause like like near the end of that game, there's just like you spawn at an elevator that has a turret pointing at you, and literally the only way to beat it is to like fucking hug the corner just right and like aim your gun in a way that like feels like you're cheesing it, but that's kind of the only way to not die. It's just the way the game was built.
Weird.
But like the thing that like gives it its character as a single player game in terms of like the enemy, like shooting the enemies and making them pause. The thing is that's like there's no fucking you had to do that because your turning was bad. Whereas like when you have a mouse, there's like it's way too easy for how long they pause. Like there's no reason. There's no reason any game going forward would ever do that. So it's just like it just exists in this weird limbo on the N64 with like it in Perfect Dark is like kind of being unique in that way.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, it's been a hot minute. I mean, we played like, isn't there the multiplayer thing for PC?
The source port.
Yeah. That was a good time. But yeah,
even though they're like, it's so funny knowing they made that whole multiplayer mode in like 2 months.
That's pretty great. Because that's like literally all I played so much of the multiplayer and almost none of the. I mean, that was the first. I still remember. For whatever reason, I was at daycare and there was something up, and like I was like the only one there, and like the lady who. I mean, it was really like her house, but she was like certified and shit. Like she had to leave and go do something because there was like a storm or some shit, and she left me there with like her daughter, who I suppose at the time was like in high school or whatever, and she just like threw on the video game because like that will keep me happily entertained. And I couldn't. It was like my first time playing it, and I couldn't figure out how to shoot. I didn't know that there was a button on the bottom of the controller. And I didn't think to look, because why would there be? So I just was like wandering around like the first level, like just not really doing anything. That was my first GoldenEye experience.
Also, like that game just has like systems that it like has a little bit of stealth mechanics in that like you can sneak up on people, but as soon as you fire a gun, like, and there are like alarms and stuff.
I mean, even in that first,
but it's it's even in the first level. but a lot of some of it's fake, some of it's like scripted. This guy, as soon as you enter this room, this guy will run to this because they don't have like a smart AI. It's fucking 64 game, but they're scripted dudes who will go run for the alarm as soon as you're there or whatever. Or this guy will shoot this hostage after this amount of time if you don't shoot him first.
Yeah.
But also that game is like hilariously faithful to the plot of that movie.
It's hilarious.
And for like
to the plot?
Faithful.
Oh.
Like it follows the plot of the movie. And like the ways in which it's different, it's like turning a thing that happens into a thing you would play in a video game rather than like the way it happened in the movie or whatever.
Yeah. I didn't know it was I guess I assumed it was not faithful at all. That's kind of funny.
Pretty hilariously faithful. They like watched that movie and turned it into a video game.
Yeah.
They're like, there's like shot stuff that's like, yeah, you go out of this door and then you see the fucking satellite in the background. You're like are playing in the spaces of the movie. It's like, yeah, you go down Bond goes down these stairs, he looks down this corner, he goes in a door right on the right. And like, yeah, that's in that level.
That's pretty good. Hank, what are these old games?
Okay.
that
So
are
my last
playable?
thing is, I was like, I don't even fucking know how I got there, but I realized I was like looking up at one of my favorite old RTSs, Star Trek Armada, which is a like next generation RTS game. Turns out it came out on GOG like last year. That game's been unplayable. So I haven't been able to revisit it, and it like came out like relatively recently, like the end of last year. It got released on GOG, so it's fun. It's like playable on a modern machine. So I'm like looking forward to playing it.
That's pretty dope. Dude, I love GOG for that shit.
Yeah, no, but like this has just been one of those that's like would be perfect to be on GOG, but just hasn't been.
Yeah.
And the thing that made that game so cool to me is like the ships, the strong ships feel strong. But also like the key to it is that it has a mechanic where if you've got the enemy's ship's health low, like it's in the red, you can transport your people from your ship onto it and take it over.
That's like one of the things, like board derelict vessels and repair them and add them to your fleet, and then
So you can, as the Federation, board a Borg cube, and now that's a Federation Borg cube. Get fucking assimilated into the Federation, assholes.
it's pretty fucking good.
But so also that like turns the classic like kind of bad RTS mission where you have a bunch of units but no base, like the classic easy story mission that's in the single player version of like almost every RTS has something like that. It makes it so much more interesting in that game because you can just like systematically go through and like take over you can still increase your size of your army through this other mechanic.
Yeah.
Because the way that game works is like there's one resource for building, but your other resource is your crew, which weirdly I think replenishes or something. But so you can use that to take over enemy ships as you go, and it's just super fun of just like managing the enemy's health and then just beaming on. Fucking board them.
That's so good, honestly. Like in a space thing, that's like a great mechanic.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun, particularly because the ships feel like as they get bigger, like the capital ships or whatever, like feel substantial too.
Yeah, yeah.
So like taking over one of those feels so fucking good. It just feels so cool. So I'm just excited about that. And then I also just, while I was on GOG, I noticed that a game that's been on GOG for a long time, but it was broken on modern systems. Like it would just load to a black screen. Seems to be fixed. And I
Which
like
game
loaded
is
into
that?
a game. Deadlock 2 Shrine Wars.
You've mentioned this.
Yeah. Because I fucking love that game. That's like the Civilization kind of game that like I actually love. Because Civ never clicked with me. And it's like you're like all the races are basically space colonizers onto these new worlds, and you build your little cities on areas on a map and build up your armies or whatever. Kind of simple city builder stuff. But I just the like voice acted, advisor characters I just find really funny.
Do you know if the Steam
They
version
hit.
works?
I know the Steam version had the same issue the GOG version did. I don't know if so I have no idea if they've fixed that version.
Yeah, these reviews are real old. Like, I don't care if somebody from 2014 is saying it's unplayable.
Yeah. Because the thing was, the Steam version didn't even fucking tell you that it only worked on Windows 7 or whatever. Whereas the GOG version did. But then I looked at the page and the GOG version says, yeah, it works on Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 11. So I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it'd probably
So
be
I
best
booted
to
it up
just-
and it worked.
Probably just best to go for the GOG version, I suppose. I mean, I would check it out because I think that's you had mentioned, and I probably was going to check it out until you mentioned it was not playable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just wish I could see. Oh, view update history.
And it's just one of the
no updates found.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things like I find A, incredibly nostalgic, and B, like I always loved the voice acting because it was just in that right space of just every line is funny to me.
Yeah.
They just have the right level of overacting or whatever.
Hell yeah, dude.
And like the intro cutscene for Deadlock 2 is primo. Burned into my brain.
I've added it to my wish list.
Yeah.
I will buy it once this war is over. Oh, that's dope though.
Yeah.
I wonder, how'd you find out it like works? Did you just like try
I
it?
literally was just I checked the page. I looked at the page. It said worked on Windows 8, Windows 10, and Windows 11, which it didn't used to say. And then I booted it up. Yeah.
Nice.
And it didn't. The thing what like it would show the intro cutscene, and then the main menu would be there, but it would be all black. Like it would just be blacked out. And I think you could hover the icons to get it to appear like for a second sometimes. But it wasn't working. Like the game would run, but it wouldn't display properly. It was a weird minor bug that just no one had bothered to fix.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
That was Windows like 8 specific. That was the other thing that made me think about it, is like I'm like 2 Windows versions away from the last time I tried to run this game. Maybe it's like just better now.
Yeah. Man, this I'm reading this like top review from like 2014. You don't micromanage combat. That sounds fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah, it just shows you like a video that you can
Combat is my least fucking favorite parts of these games. Like sometimes I just want I want more of a Civilization experience, but without the combat. But I don't just want a city builder. Like it's a weird fucking line to define, much less find. So that sounds nice. I wonder if they updated so the game King of Dragon Pass, there's like the newer version that was made for like mobile and shit and then ported to Steam and all that. And that's like the one that you buy. I think it's only on GOG. If you buy it, you get the original 1999 installer, which is great because there was a bug in the original game where you could win, like at the start of the game, you could choose if you want your clan to be a war clan, a balance clan, or a peace clan. And it really just means like how much you're attacking. Like even peaceful clans have to attack a little bit. In the original game, there was a bug they never fixed, so you could just win the game without actually attacking people. Like you could truly be peaceful.
But it was a bug.
It was a fucking bug, yeah. Like that the peaceful clan was actually truly peaceful, like pacifist.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and like when I found out that wasn't a thing in the newer version, and then I saw GOG had replaced the old game with the new, but it turns out they include the old version. Like that shit is so cool.
Yeah,
they do great stuff. I'd be curious to know. Well, there's a forum discussion for Deadlock. January 22nd, 2022. Possible solution. I know that sometimes like GOG just includes like mods or unofficial patches or shit to games. I'm wondering if that's one of those or if it's actually a fix. Not that it matters. Results are the same, but that shit's just cool.
I mean, honestly, I thought it was fucking wild that they put a game out, like, more wild that they put that game on Steam that just doesn't run on current,
the fact
on modern machines.
Yeah.
They put it out on Steam and it just fucking doesn't actually work.
I forgot that it was also on Steam, yeah.
Wild. Like, at least on GOG it says right there.
Yeah.
The Steam doesn't have a, like, works on these machines field.
Yeah, no, they just have like the
they
you know what, on Steam, I don't know if this is recent or what, it says Windows XP Vista 7, this product will not work in Windows 8.
Okay.
So I wonder if they had added that after nobody could fucking play it.
Maybe. It's possible.
All of these reviews are like, anybody who has more than 0.1 hours in the game also includes a thing that's like, here's how I fixed it. And then they have like 40 hours. Or it's like people who just give it the thumbs up because they played it back in the day.
Yes.
That's funny. That's whatever. Oh, it's cool.
Like, yeah.
Check it out. Maybe I can buy it. Nope. In light of the recent invasion. Yeah. 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 I gotta wrap this up though.
Yeah.
It ended up being long anyway.
I told you, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a good time though.
Yeah.
Got through a lot of stuff. I didn't mention Way of the House Husband. Way of the House Husband is a cute anime and a cute manga. I recommend.
Yeah, I prefer the manga.
Yeah, I like the voice acting and because the anime
is more of a motion.
It's very motion. Yeah, like it's interesting. Some people fucking hate it, and I don't blame them. But I really like the music and the voice acting.
Yeah, the music and the voice acting is fine. It's just it's like not animated.
Oh,
and I'd
yeah,
rather just see the
totally
mangaka's drawings.
That makes sense. I mean,
The drawings are good.
The important part of the anime is that they kept the cat pooping, like trying to take a dump in the other cat's yard.
Yeah, like it's like it's faithful. They just copied those drawings.
Oh,
and
totally.
add color.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Good chat.
And like, and just like an episode that's just like little vignettes is not compelling TV to me. I find it more enjoyable to just inhale those as comic book bits.
Yeah. See, and I was looking for like the short thing. Like I could take in like 2 or 3 of those and then come back later. That was perfect for just the shit I was doing at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, saltcirclepodcast@gmail.com, saltcirclepod on Twitter, anchor.fm/saltcircle, and I'm on Twitter at Comic Panels.
I'm not on Twitter, but I tried to buy a game today.